Hello, welcome to the Kam Johal show, and I have a guest with me that I'm absolutely proud to have here today who will be sharing our story. But prior to that, we've been doing this show for a few months now, so I want to thank all the viewers that are supporting us and all the positive messages that we get, because without you, this show wouldn't really exist and I wouldn't need to be here. So without further ado, my guest today is Rubeena Mehat. Welcome, Ruby.
Thank you for having me, Cam.
Yeah, you're welcome. So it's been taking us a few weeks to get you, hasn't it? Because you're a busy girl.
It has, yes.
Yeah.
And lockdown and the virus, trying to be wary and trying to be sensible.
Yes.
And yeah, dates really. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we're finally here.
I was going to say, finally made it, yeah.
Yeah, and this is it now.
Yeah, thank you for having
You've
me.
arrived?
Yeah, I have. I'm ready, committed.
Good. Listen, your story is not that unusual in terms of where we start.
Yeah.
So, traditional Punjabi family?
Yes.
Yeah. In Birmingham?
Staffordshire.
Staffordshire. How long has your family been in the UK?
My dad's been here, I would say, 38 years maybe.
Okay.
And my mum, she was born here, Coventry.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a real local family, right?
Yeah, local, yeah.
So, what's family life like? Brothers, sisters, siblings?
I've got two older sisters and a younger brother, and obviously my mum and dad, and we've got a shop.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, it was all shop life, which I'm sure many people can relate to that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody lent a hand, real family affair, right?
Yeah.
And you're a
business orientated. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're a real local girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so went to school here?
Yes, school.
And university was in Birmingham?
Yes.
Okay, and you decided to study?
Law.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to do law from a young age, actually. So it wasn't that my parents pushed me or anything, because my siblings, they haven't done anything that academic.
Okay.
One's social worker and the other one's into art, and my brother, he's got his own business. So they never pushed me, but it just always interested me how initially I looked into the criminal justice system and how I wanted to defend these people that are wrongfully convicted.
Okay.
But, we'll explore that later on in the line. I obviously didn't go down that route, so I'm practicing in real estate.
That's right.
Yes.
So how do you find that?
I enjoy it. It's all very much contracts and negotiating, looking at all the deals, so yeah.
Because you're on the commercial side of conveyancing, right?
Yeah, on the commercial side. So they did anticipate during, obviously, lockdown at the start, the work did completely slow down to about... I was doing 20% of work from, whereas before I was doing like 120%. So that's how busy we were. It's completely picked up now, but yeah, the virus did obviously impact business.
Okay, so you're a relatively young lawyer.
Yes,
so
I'd like to think so.
So I'd like to discuss with you something that's quite close to my heart, young people qualifying.
Yeah.
And, we're very fortunate, our community, we are getting educated, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And we're following, a lot of young people are following traditional occupations, solicitor, doctor, those kind of accountancy kind of professions. And, I try and have guests who have not done that, broken the mold.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of youngsters are going into the established professions. So, there's a big oversupply, isn't there, in this country of students doing law.
Absolutely.
And then once you've actually qualified, you need a training contract, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about that, how difficult that was, or how easy it was, in fact, for you to get that elusive contract that everybody's chasing.
Yes. Well, I'd say when I started the journey, I thought it was from my degree, but what really I should have been told, it's all the way from your A-levels.
Okay.
Because even now when you apply for a job, they look at your A-levels, and to me it's like, you were a child then, and it's all just tick box exams. And I was advised not to do law as well, so depending on where you want to qualify, so you need to think about that like 6 years in advance to then pick your A-levels, which I wasn't told.
Okay, so let me just stop that.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I know of is, obviously when you go for your training contract, everybody's got that law degree, haven't they?
Yeah.
Right? So that's why they revert back to your A-level results, don't they? To differentiate you from everybody else who's got that degree. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say it's changed a little bit now because they know that they were picking red brick universities or Oxbridge candidates, whereas they're not always the best person for the job. They might be academic, but
why
you
would
need
you say that? Because by reputation, obviously Oxbridge and the Russell Group universities are considered to be the elite
best,
universities in this country. So, and so if I was a layperson, I would be thinking, you know, if I had two candidates, you know, red brick and not red brick, I'd pick the red brick, or I'd be leaning towards that.
Yeah.
So you're saying that that's changed?
Yeah. So the companies are trying to remove that, and they're having blank CVs now, so you can't see their names, so they don't try and discriminate against non-English.
Wonderful.
Yeah, removing age, so they're not ageist, and university, because like you said, naturally you would, and so would I. If I was hiring, I would think, oh, they've been to Oxbridge, or any of them, or Red Brick, they must know, they must be very clever, I'll go for them. But that's not always the case, that yes, they might be very good academic, but actually doing the job and executing it is very different. So you have to have that knowledge, but you need to also have the soft skills and also understand how it works in reality. So in terms, sometimes in contracts, you know, I'll get the heads of terms, but that's not really what's going to be in the documents, because what they actually meant was something else. When you understand the business side of things, and an Oxbridge student or Red Brick might not do that, might tick box heads of terms, that's what I'm going to draft and that's what they'll get, whereas they don't really think about the bigger picture.
So Oxbridge, for those parents and those youngsters that don't know, we're referring to Oxford University in
Oxford
Cambridge.
Oxford Cambridge, yeah.
And can you tell us what Red Brick, we refer to them as the Russell Group or Red Brick universities, what are those? And again, for parents that don't know or youngsters that don't know.
Well, I'd say I need to be educated as well on that, but I know it's like Cardiff University, Nottingham, so there's, I'd say it's the top 10 or something, so it's quite high ranking
it's
universities.
15 universities.
Yeah.
So they're considered to be just below Oxbridge, obviously.
Yeah.
Those are the two. So it's a group of 15 universities, I believe, which are considered to be academically, you know, up there.
Yeah.
So to go to those, you know, if you wanted to go to university and it wanted to be the best, then you would consider Oxford and Cambridge. Yeah. Then below that is the Russell Group or Red Brick universities.
Yeah.
So those are really things that people, you know, 14, 15, 16-year-olds would be aiming for.
Yeah.
But as you're saying, that we live in an age where we're trying to get equality. Yeah. Which means that recruiters themselves, and companies often recruit directly, or recruitment companies, are leaving names, age, university off CVs, so that they're trying to level the playing field. That regardless of the university you went to, they're trying to look for the best candidate. Yeah. Would you say that's a fair assumption?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
So that's only very recent. So obviously I had the hurdles on, because I did go to Birmingham City University, which obviously isn't Red Brick, but it's I think top somewhere for law, because they did different courses, so you could go to Texas and work on cases over there. So they were well known for law. And so I had those struggles, and I already thought, well, I need to decide how am I going to differentiate myself. So during my degree and my LPC, which is postgrad, I did work experience for a variety of law firms. Not only just to get the experience, to then decide, well, what kind of sector do I want to work in, because it's not just criminal and civil, there was just so many different areas. Sure. And then obviously the reason why I wanted to go into law was to work in the criminal sector. I started working at a practice, I'll leave the name out of it. Sure. I was there for about a year and a half and realised that it's such a corrupt system that I don't want to be part of it. So the criminal law in this country you consider to be corrupt? Absolutely. It's really interesting. Yeah. Please explain. I noticed that, so let's say that someone's been found, not found guilty, they've been charged for an offence, that obviously speak to the solicitors. The solicitor knows that they're guilty, knows that they've also got a lot of money, but then claim legal aid, because it's from the government, or that they've got all this money back at home. Yeah. That I did not agree with in the first place. And then they would obviously, which is their job, they would then get them off the offences. Right. And I'm like, you did the crime, you've got to, you know, do the time. Yeah. That's my mentality. I did get quite a few cases where they were charged for an offence and they were not guilty, and I really enjoyed working on them. So passionate about it, because they shouldn't have a criminal record for something that they haven't done. Let's say if it was a fight, non-fault, or a car accident, or a hit and run. Not a hit and run, so an accident if they've hit a pedestrian, which was a complete accident. Yeah. Then I don't think that they should do the time for that. Sure. And they were dealt appropriately, but that's only a small minority. Yes. And then the big factor is you don't get paid a lot for it.
So you were a lawyer with a conscience.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I couldn't represent the murderers and rapists, and just couldn't do it.
Well, look, it's important to do work that you enjoy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you clearly didn't enjoy that.
No.
But again, we were talking before the show that in order to get that elusive contract, you have to go and do some work.
Yeah.
Right, if you can. And you explained to me that a lot of this work that you did was as a volunteer, that you didn't get paid for this work.
No, yeah.
So, we've had parents and we have youngsters listening to the show. So what advice would you give, in terms of, was that a good thing to do? Would you do that again?
No.
You wouldn't do work for free?
I would do, so for that year and a half, I only got paid, I'd say, about the last 3 to 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that was only because I kept asking. But if I didn't, they would have carried on not paying me.
Were they internships? What were they considered to be? So what was your status?
Work experience. But to me, if it's work experience, you'd perhaps do, like it says in the title, experience the type of work that you do, not handle your own cases, not have client meetings, and do the memos and case records and follow up with police stations, etc. So I did that, and then I also then worked in Coventry at another law firm, again for free. I ended up being the receptionist. I also, this lady, did her application to become a local councillor. Okay. I did her application. Okay. So that to me isn't work experience. And then holding client meetings. So for those people that are obviously going down that route, I would advise at the very start, say, I don't mind doing a month maybe for free, so you can see my work ethic, that I'm really committed to this. Because everyone is a business and it is difficult, and I don't have the experience. So yes, I'll do a month for free, but after that, you'll pay me how much I should be paid according to government standards. Yeah. And that is what I would recommend. And some people, because I have mentored some people in the past, some people are, no, not working for free. Mm-hmm. But then I'll look at those people and they still don't have a training contract. So it is difficult.
It's catch-22, isn't it?
It is. It's a difficult choice, and I made those choices. I was fortunate because obviously I still stayed at home parents. I worked on a weekend though whilst doing my degree, going to these law firms once or twice a week, and then working in retail on the weekend. Yeah.
So real hard, tough start, right?
Yes.
Okay. But the thing is that, and again, we were talking prior to the show, people have done some extraordinary things to get these training contracts, haven't they? And broken all the rules of any, moral and ethic would be. But, and that's up to the individual, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Right?
If they're willing to do that and that's how they want to secure the training contract, then that's absolutely their business. But that's not a route that I would have even explored to go down.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. So we have got this oversupply of graduates for that profession. Did you experience a lot of people that you graduated with or in that legal profession that went into other professions from doing their law degree?
Out of all of my friends from university and all the people that I know, I think in terms of practicing as a solicitor, there's I think 3 of us.
Wow.
Out of, I'd say that I know about 50. So there's only 3 of us. Yeah, that's how difficult it is to get a training contract. And some people did qualify but didn't carry on.
So that's like 6-7%.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So very low. Did they go and become lawyers at other firms? Or just didn't go into law?
Just didn't go into law.
Okay.
I know people that have gone into the banking sector, some people that have opened their own businesses. In fact, quite a lot of people have opened their own businesses, or some people qualified and then went back to run the family business.
Sure. But law is a great discipline, isn't it? It's a great degree to have for a multitude of other professions that you can go into, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those people that didn't go into law become teachers.
Yes.
So they can teach the law, and they all enjoy what they do. And just because you've got a law degree doesn't mean you have to go down to the solicitor route or barrister. So those that have done a degree and panicking, just think there's lots of other options for you.
Okay. So again, if you've got your degree, it's not the end of the world if you can't get into a law practice.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd at that point, cause I found a training contract, I think 4 or 5 years after doing my LPC, and at that point I did have to think of a plan B. So I'd always tell anyone, just think of a plan B.
But that's evident today, isn't it? So,
yes.
and probably going through what's coming next year post-COVID.
Yeah.
That, you know, people graduating this year and next year could find a lot of difficulty in securing employment or even internships, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure these graduates know, I think just use the time to up your skills. There's loads of free courses online, and then you can provide those services and try and utilise your degree. Yeah. That's all you can recommend and give advice, really, is try and up your skills.
Yeah. Would you recommend staying on in education and doing a master's perhaps as a year?
I'd say it would be depending on what that individual's plan is and long-term goals. I personally wouldn't do a master's. Okay. I did consider it. It would have just been for my own knowledge, really, and it wouldn't have added anything to my career in terms of salary or role in the firm. So I didn't go down that route. Okay, so again, as a bit of guidance, you know, don't do it if you don't really want to do it. Yeah, because it's the extra money, the extra debt and stress. Because, you know, we all know that education isn't all fun and games. So do you really want to put yourself through that unless you know that there's a clear route that you're going to go into a job and you need that master's? Sure. So, you know, you touched on the debt that you end up with. Yeah. So do you consider that as an investment in your future? That, you know, you've got we haven't discussed you know, whether you have or not, but it doesn't matter. But a lot of people end up with some amount of debt, don't they? Yeah. Right? So do you think that that's a good investment in yourself? Absolutely, I think it's a good investment. I mean, I've come through the end of it, I've qualified, I've got a good job, a good company, so I would say it's definitely an investment, but it's something that you need to definitely be passionate about. Because like I said, in the numbers, there's only 3 of us practicing as solicitor now, and some of those people that have done a law degree could have got to where they are without the degree. Without it, yes. So I know a lot of companies doing it apprentices now, so I definitely recommend a lot of people go down that route. Have a look at those, because you've got 3 years of a law degree, 3 years of debt, and then you could be working in a place as an apprentice and have 3 years of work experience, right? Absolutely, and you can earn a bit of money as well. Always helps. They are paid. Yeah. Okay, so we've explored all of those things, and you know that's really all we will say about that. So you're a practicing solicitor now. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I am. In Birmingham again? Yes, in Birmingham. Yeah. Okay, so you went to university in Birmingham. Yes. You've lived in the area, so again, you're a local girl, right? I am a local girl, yeah. It wasn't intentional, it always happens to be, in Birmingham, and I enjoy it. I like the city, Yeah. Well, it's the second city. Yes. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. So if it ain't broke, there's no need to fix it, right? No. Okay. So now, Ruby, you know, the real thing is that you have a passion, don't you? Yeah. Right? And when I first came across your story, I thought, wow, you know, I was really inspired. Oh, thank you, yeah. Because, you know, your mum was born here. Yeah. So you're second generation British. Yeah. So, but you had a passion, didn't you, to do something outside of the law. Yeah. And I'm not going to take away your thunder by stealing the story from you. Can you tell us, you know, and I obviously know now how it all started. Yeah. And that is such a fascinating story. So the only thing I'll say to the viewers is that you have a passion for buying books for people as presents, right? Yes, I do, yeah. So you wanted to buy a book for a newborn? Yeah. One of your friends, was it, or a relative? Yeah, relative. Had a baby? Yeah. And you went out in search of the perfect book? Yeah. And except you didn't find one, did you? I didn't, no. Okay. Yeah. What happened then? Yeah, so searched Amazon, Etsy, eBay, anything that you could think of. I did find one book, but it wasn't really what I was after, because it wasn't the same quality, type of pages, images. So then I thought, well, I know that there are companies that you could personalise books. So let me stop you there. Yeah. So you had a specific idea of the type of book that you wanted to buy. Yeah. So, but why don't you just pick another book? Because I would have. Yeah, I'm one of those people that get no idea, and I need to execute that. Right. So I needed to find a baby Punjabi book, but using the English alphabet. So you didn't go for the normal stuff that first book everybody would buy, right? Which would be an English book with English characters, English stories, and we've seen them. We've seen them, we've given them, and children have them. So you had this specific idea that you wanted a book Yeah.
Written in English.
Yeah.
But in Punjabi, if that's the
so,
way you describe it.
Yeah, for the Punjabi language. So like, hello is Sasri Akal, so you could read it and then you would end up how you pronounce it in essence.
Okay.
So there is a few, and then I thought, I could buy that, but it's not really what I'm looking for. I want it to be like the perfect first book. So you get loads of babies' first books,
Sure.
babies' first words. So yeah, and that's where the journey started. And because I was so stuck on that idea, I thought, well, I need to have a look if there's a company that can just make it for me.
Yeah.
So I went on the internet, and the babies' books tend to be board books, which are thicker pages, quite
yes.
small.
Yeah.
So tried to look for board book, and you can create your own, but it's £60.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, not paying £60 for one present. Let's see how much it costs or what I need to do to publish my own.
Okay.
And that's where it started.
So you thought, I'm not going to pay you £60?
No.
Right? So again, most of us would have gone out and bought some substitute thing.
Yeah.
Right? But you thought, I'm going to write my own.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
And that is literally, on that same day, I thought, oh my God, this is an amazing idea. Like, this can go massive. And
did you talk to anybody?
No.
You
Not
didn't?
when I thought about it, no.
Right.
After I wrote down all the process, then I did.
Okay. So as an entrepreneur, because now you're in business, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't discuss it with anybody?
No.
So it's really interesting because had you come home and said, Mum, Dad, brother, sister, I've got this idea. Now, honestly tell me, how many of them would have said, Ruby, that's a great idea, and how many would have said, Shadapare, don't do that?
Yeah. I would say my mum would probably have said no.
Mm-hmm.
She'd probably like, oh, you're not going to make any money from that. Oh, that's going to just be a headache. What are you going to do that for?
Yeah.
And my dad probably would just be doing like, okay, it's up to you.
Yeah.
But when I did think about it, wrote it all down, I did tell my sister, and she's like, oh, it's an amazing idea. It's so good. Like, go for it. Because I'm always thinking of businesses.
Yes.
Because, you don't need just one stream of income. Always thinking about that. And then I told my partner, and he was like, yeah, it's a really good idea.
Okay.
So I say really good idea. He first laughed, and then he thought about it, and I was like, yeah, it's a really good idea.
Yes. After you told him it's a good idea.
Yes. After I was like, I don't care, I'm doing it anyway.
So the thing is, the lesson here is don't come out with your idea prematurely. Think about it.
Yeah.
And don't take it to people that you know are going to throw cold water on it.
Yeah, because if I did, and those people that are critical, I think, as you get older and you think about all these ideas and things, you do learn that there are always going to be people to try and shut it down.
Yes.
So I did learn that, and I only told literally my whole family when it was out for print. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I told my immediate family, but I only told everybody else when it was out to print.
So if you have an idea, get your fans on board first.
Yes.
Right, those people that are going to support you, not those guys that are going to rain on your parade, right?
Yeah, and there is plenty of them.
Yeah, because, I started plenty of businesses.
Yeah.
So I know that if that initial idea is put to the wrong person, and because you haven't really got that much confidence in it at that point.
Yeah, because you're still wary about it. Like, is it a good idea? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you met 3 people that, that would be it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And so many people's dreams have been killed.
From that, yeah.
From just those initial conversations.
Yeah.
Right? So if you've got a bad back, don't tell your mate at work, go and see the doctor.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't know what to do about it.
No.
So if you've got a good idea in business, make sure that you tell people that actually have that kind of entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would actually say, oh, tell me more about it.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, that would never work.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what kills businesses.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how long ago was that? When you first had that idea? When was that baby? How old is that baby now?
1.5.
Okay, so 1.5. So that baby started your business.
Yes, yes.
How incredible is that?
It is, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So, and then you came up with an idea for a book.
Yeah.
So where does our character come from, the first one?
Happy the Hatti.
Happy the Hatti.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well, how I thought about it first was I wanted the main character to have some sort of significance to India. So I thought, what's the animal of India? It's a Hatti. So I thought, okay, that's going to be my first, the character, the main one.
Okay.
And then the name, with children's books, it always has to rhyme or start with the same letter, etc.
Makes sense.
Yep. I thought Happy goes, and my dad calls my older sister Happy, so I thought,
right.
Perfect.
Did she take that as an insult? Your sister's an elephant?
No, actually, she hasn't raised it.
Is that right? Ruby's sister? Sorry, I couldn't resist.
No, it's fine, yeah.
So the Happy was born.
Yes.
And did you write the book afterwards, or did you write the book and have an idea for it and then name your character?
No, I named the character first.
Okay.
Because I knew that, because I wrote down all the book titles I want, and they're still all in process. I've literally got titles for the next 2 years.
Fabulous.
So yeah, I think just, when it just clicks, so I just had to write it all down.
It flows, doesn't it, sometimes?
Yeah. So I've got all those titles, and so it's then after I thought of the character, then I wrote out the book.
Okay, so at this stage you know nothing about writing a book?
No.
Nothing about publishing it?
Absolutely not.
So how did you go about that process?
Yeah, I thought it would be a lot more simple than it actually was, which is like anything. I thought, right, get the words in, just find a printer, get it done. I then joined Facebook groups, and anyone thinking about starting a business, I recommend Facebook groups. That I'd say that's the best thing about Facebook, is actual real community, especially when people relate to you.
Yeah.
So I joined children's publishing groups, children illustrator groups, self-publishing groups. And there I learnt that, like anything, there's requirements you need to follow. I did my research into the legal aspects of the children books in terms of it can't be toxic, the printing that you use has to be gloss, round edges for safety, etc. So I did all of that research myself, and that the pages need to be white.
Okay.
I say need to be is best, because then the child processes it better.
Okay.
So I wanted it to really benefit them rather than just a gimmick, a book that they're just going to look at. But those books taught me that you need an ISBN, which is another number.
International book number, is it?
Yes, it is, yeah. And then the barcodes, which I thought about the barcode anyway, but it needed to have a price on it that you can't, that needs to be printed on there. You needed a publishing company, even if you're self-publishing.
Yes.
So I had to create that as well. So yeah, the Facebook groups were, I'd say, absolutely perfect in terms of the journey. Yeah.
Interesting thing about publishing, having a publisher and self-publish.
Yeah.
So I have lots of friends that write books.
Yeah.
And the difference between doing the self-publish and having a publisher is that self-published books will not be read by anybody in authority. So if you want your book to have good reviews, or if it's a technical book, it needs to be published by a recognised publisher.
Yes.
Yes. And only then will it go into the desks of people that are influential and will actually review your book.
I'd say now they call it indie publishing and self-publishing. It has become more acceptable, whereas before it was you have to go through a publishing house, whereas now you can still enter the competitions now, so that
They'll
it can
allow
be,
that now?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So same as Waterstones, they just have a few requirements that you, whereas before they didn't allow self-published books.
Right.
So yeah, it's
So that's
slowly,
something that's
it is
changed.
slowly changing. Yeah.
Okay, great. So you can and did you self-publish?
Yes, I self-published.
Okay,
yes.
great. So you know the process now.
Yes,
okay.
yeah. And I'm happy to answer any questions. People have reached out to me saying, "Oh, I've got this book that I'm thinking of," and so I've helped them along the way with the process.
Fantastic. So you're putting something back already, right?
I am, yeah. I always think that if someone asks you for help, then you might as well just give it back, because you're not going to gain anything by holding it in.
Well, sometimes it comes tenfold.
Yes.
In other ways, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Right.
Yeah.
So open yourself up.
Yeah.
So we, as you're talking about property, Facebook groups and things. So I run a Facebook group for property.
Okay.
And we often get asked questions from newbies and experienced people.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's called a community for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So you should answer questions, and then other people will answer it. So if you've got questions, go out there, find the group, ask them the question. There's always somebody that's had the same problem as you're having, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's every day someone's asking the same question.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Someone else will approach it and answer as well if you're not available to. But so Facebook groups are the way forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the books have a fun element.
Yeah.
And they also serve as a very important part of a Punjabi child's growing up, because obviously they're reading these books in English.
Yeah.
and then they're pronouncing the words in Punjabi, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite an important aid in teaching children to speak Punjabi,
Yeah.
not read and write it, obviously,
Yeah.
but to be able to speak Punjabi, which is the first step, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think a lot of people, the customers that have reached out, said this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Although they know Punjabi, it's hard to implement speaking Punjabi on a regular basis with their child. I think it's just this generation as well.
Yeah.
That although our parents spoke Punjabi all the time, we understand Punjabi. It's the next generation, we're not really implementing that as much.
Well, the interesting thing is, my experience tells me that Punjabi is taught to you by your grandparents, not by your parents.
Oh, mine was my dad.
Right?
Yeah.
Because generally speaking, but you guys had a business.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, soon after you're born, at some point your parents are at work.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
it's
true,
your grandparents that bring you up.
Yeah.
But obviously things are changing. Not everybody lives, in extended families.
Yeah.
So, that's what you're probably experiencing from that point of view.
Yeah.
That a lot of people that buy books don't live with the grandparents.
The grandparents, yeah.
So it's the couple on their own bringing up a child. And like you said, our own language at home is generally English.
Yeah.
Although we switch between Punjabi and English quite well.
Yeah.
Right? But our children obviously can't pick that up.
No.
So this is a great aid
Yeah.
in teaching them how to speak Punjabi, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I feel this is the stepping stone. So, and if they want to divulge in that further, then go to Punjabi school or look at the Punjabi easy books to then learn Gurmukhi and establish that further.
Yeah, because the big hurdle, the obstacle at the moment is not being able to speak the language.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to learn to read and write it.
No.
So, but it would give somebody the confidence, wouldn't
Yeah.
they? So, a lot of the Gurdwara run Punjabi schools now. But if your child doesn't know how to speak Punjabi when they get there, it's a bit of a handicap, isn't it?
Yeah, it's daunting, for the child. Yeah, if they know the odd few words and familiarise with it, then yeah.
So, age group that your books cater for?
They cater for, I'd say, 0 up to about 5 because of the words, but I'd say adults have bought the books and relied on them as well. Those are the ones that are perhaps married interracial relationships.
Yes.
So they're not familiar with Punjabi, so they're learning it themselves.
Yes.
So yeah, a wide age group. So quite a few people have asked that, but I've had people buying it for newborns so they can read to them on a regular basis, and then teenagers and adults so that they can then read to their children.
Yeah, absolutely. So wide in terms of, so how many Happy the Hathi books have we got now?
So there's 3. There's Happy the Hathi Learns Baby's First Words.
Okay.
So that includes generic words that you'd use on a day-to-day basis, like yes, no, water, baby, car.
Okay.
And then there's colours, which is the rainbow colours, and then there's numbers, which is numbers to 10.
Okay.
I've got an activity book as well that's in the process of being printed. That is mainly aimed, I'd say, like 5 to maybe even 10-year-olds. It's got stickers in there, it's got different word searches using Punjabi words, maths in there as well, but using obviously like Ikdo then, the Punjabi version. So that I'd say is aimed more between 5 to 10-year-olds.
Okay, and you said it's interactive. That's really important, isn't it?
Yes,
right?
Really implementing that and actually thinking about it. So it's got the maths in there, English, it's got even colours, so it's got the colour by numbers, so you blue, red, green, yellow, and it's just thinking about that whole process and actually everyday use.
So it's really growing, right?
Yes, it is, yeah. And I can say here exclusively
yes, go on.
that I'll be starting books in Gujarati and Hindi as well.
Whoa.
Yes. That's from demand. Yes, thank you.
So customers have come back to you, feedback.
Yes,
and saying, look, why don't you do this in Gujarati and
Hindi?
And Hindi.
Yeah,
That's
I've had so many customers saying, when are the Hindi books coming out? Or when are the Gujarati books coming out? I'm like, not yet. I was thinking like 5-10 years, not a couple of months later.
So it was on the roadmap?
It was, yeah. It was on that big list that I'd written out. Yeah, it was. Because I think obviously Punjabi is like close to my heart.
It's our mother tongue.
It is.
Or it's our mother's mother tongue if not ours, right?
Yeah. But I appreciate there's lots of other cultures.
Sure.
And they want to preserve their culture and they want to preserve their languages as well, their mother tongue. So it's just keeping the mother tongue alive. So Punjabi, Hindi and Gujarati will be next year, focusing on those. And then in the future, I don't know if any other like Tamil or any other languages. Don't know Arabic.
If you're watching, and it's not Punjabi or Gujarati or Hindi, get in touch with Ruby and she'll do you a special book in your own language. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go, you see.
Yeah.
So Happy the Hatti has got, is it a sister or is it a wife? What's he got?
For now, it's a friend.
It's a friend, okay.
For now, yes.
Okay, and what is she called?
Gibi the Gato.
Gibi the Gato.
Yeah.
And you were telling me that Gato is what?
A squirrel, yeah.
It's a
so
squirrel.
Usually elders call them little Gato.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's where I got it from. Asked my dad, because Gibi is my cousin's nickname.
Okay.
Because I said to everyone, I was like, look.
There's a trend here, isn't there?
Yeah, so I'm trying to implement like family.
Brilliant.
And just keeping the memories alive and having them involved.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I want to be named after a character, and her nickname, like, people call her Gibi.
Okay.
So yeah, it's Gibi the Gato.
Okay. And how is she different to Happy?
A girl. Happy's a boy.
Obviously.
Yes, I thought little girls can relate to her. She's got a little chunni on as well, little jewel.
Okay.
And that relates to Gibi as well, because she's quite girly and dresses up. That's the big significances really. So it's a girl, a bit more girlier. So Happy's the boy. And then I've also got Sheru the Sher.
Okay, there's 3 of them now.
There is, yes.
Okay,
yes.
right. Sher is tiger or lion?
Lion.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's an animal that's really associated with Sikhism, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm trying not to emphasize on religion.
Of course.
So more culture, but there are obviously slight significances. So Happy's got a gura on.
Okay.
So, and it's not highlighted. It's not, Happy Sikh. It's just that's something important to me that I wanted Happy to have.
Yeah, so you really are looking at your culture, things that are important to you.
Yeah.
And I suppose, you're the age group that can lean across to much younger people, right?
Yeah.
You're relatively young yourself, so and the thing is that, one of the things that really important to me is that this is our home.
Yeah.
Right? We're British and we're Punjabi, we're Indians and Sikhs and all of those things, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right? And the Gujarati community is Indian, Gujarati and African, and Hindu as well.
Yeah.
So, everybody has a right to interpret themselves however.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? But we are moving forward, aren't we?
Yeah.
So the reality is, when we go to the Gurdwara, it's almost kind of dictated, teach your children Punjabi. But we're not always given the tools to do that, are we?
No. And I think now I have seen a few things cropping up, so it has been obviously picked up as an issue that perhaps we can't teach our children Punjabi in the same way, like you said, it was grandparents, and I was lucky it was my dad.
Yeah.
So this is just the stepping stone. I know that there are some companies out there that are teaching Gurmukhi from the start, which great if you can teach your child, but and pick that up. But this, I'd say, is just like the bridge, really.
Well, the thing is, it's for everyday families, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gurmukhi, is a very specialist language.
It is, yeah.
And only certain parts of the community will know it to teach their children themselves.
Yeah.
So then you've got companies that are doing that.
Yeah.
This is something to do with your parents, right?
Yes.
You have a child.
Yeah.
And just like you're teaching your child to read, you're teaching your child to read and to be able to speak Punjabi.
Yeah.
So it's a real family thing, isn't it?
It is, and they're classed as dual language because you're teaching your child not only the English, you're teaching them hello and the words, but also in Punjabi. So it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So how big is the market in terms of, and again, we were talking prior to the show, that your audience is not just in Britain, is it?
No, I've sold the books in Australia, Hong Kong, here, Germany, Amsterdam, Rio, America, Canada. So right across the world, like New Zealand. My biggest market outside the UK is Canada, which is probably what you would have guessed. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, because the thing is this, that as a community, we've been here the longest.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
Right? So we've got 2nd and possibly 3rd generation Indians, for want of a better word, who are British.
Yeah.
So you could have, if you had a family tomorrow, it's likely that both you and your partner are born here.
Yeah.
But not only that, but your parents are born here as well.
Yeah.
So in Canada and America, we went there as a community much later.
Yeah.
So you would expect demand to be far less.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people
already
that
speak.
because
Punjabi,
marriage is a big thing for getting into Canada. So if you went there at 18, 20, 25 to get married, you would know the Punjabi language.
Absolutely,
so you could teach your child that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And it's highly likely that it's your first language and you speak that at home and people can learn that. So it is quite surprising that Canada is the second largest market for you.
Yeah, with that thought process, absolutely. But shockingly, it is the biggest market for me outside of the UK.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about India?
No, not in India.
Really?
Yeah.
So
because a lot of them, I'd say the proportion of people speaking Punjabi is getting quite less, isn't it? Because they're pushing Hindi in the schools.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, especially the Punjabi community that lives in cities where Punjabi isn't taught in schools.
Yeah.
And I understand that most of the kids go to private schools in the Punjab, and private schools don't teach
Punjabi now.
Punjabi. So there's a market for you.
Yeah, it hasn't been picked up yet.
Right. So anybody listening in the Punjab,
yes.
right? Or if
feel
you've got
free
links,
to get in contact. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Actually, if people have got links or see a business in the Punjab, they should get in touch.
Absolutely.
Because I don't see why that can't be a market for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in the larger cities.
Yeah.
We've got huge, and it's not the other thing about Punjabi. It's of the Punjab, isn't it? It's not of Sikhi.
Yeah, it is.
Right. So you could be a Hindu, you could be a Muslim, and all sorts of other religions that are originally from the Punjab.
Yeah.
And Punjabi is your mother tongue.
Yeah.
So, the Muslim community that's in the part of Punjab that's in Pakistan now.
Yeah.
I have lots of friends, we speak Punjabi.
Yeah.
And we're from the same land, aren't we?
Yeah.
So the market could be huge, couldn't it?
It is, yeah. And that's why I haven't based it on religion as well.
Yes.
Because I don't want to segregate the market as just for Sikhs, because there's been loads of Christians that have bought the book, Muslims that have bought the book, and atheists as well that just obviously want to preserve the Punjabi culture.
Yeah. So Ruby, where do you see this going, in 10 years' time? Because obviously, again, we talked about, your main career as a solicitor, because you may at some point move abroad to practice.
Yes, hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
So that's obviously something, I'll always practice law.
Yes.
Because I enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I think I probably would drop it and just try and concentrate on Happy the Hottie. But, I've worked hard for it to qualify, and I really enjoy the work. So, exploring abroad is something I definitely want to do in the future. But with Happy the Hottie in 10 years, wow, that is a very good question, and not anyone's asked me that.
I do know
I
Kam Johal show that you'd get asked awkward questions.
It's if I want to disclose that, but okay, here we go. So, a collection of books. Yeah. Not just 0 to 3, going up to, let's say, having actual stories up to, let's say, teenagers. So I'll have the English at the top, in Punjabi at the bottom, and then it'll be in Hindi as well, Gujarati, and any other languages that people get in touch with. Sure. TV show.
Definitely.
So that's already in the process at the moment, but if anyone knows, it does take years and years. So
sure. How does that work? How does a TV show work in terms of how is it going to be featured that you can read in English and pronounce in Punjabi? Yeah,
so that TV show is going to be, well, there's 2 avenues that I'm going down. So the first one would be if it was me on the TV show, but then someone would already through the screen have Happy the Hottie and his little squad. Okay. There.
His family?
His family. His friends.
Okay.
Kiwi the cartoon might become his buddy, but we don't know yet.
Oh my God.
Yes. We don't know.
Maybe romance in the air, huh?
Yeah, maybe romance.
These kids, you don't know what they get up to, do you?
No, you don't. So that would be teaching words like, this is how you say hello, and they would all repeat. So like that, all as in stories. So it would all be in cartoons, and it would literally just be speaking Punjabi. Let's say they're going a day to the park, but you're hearing it in Punjabi and it's in English at the bottom, because obviously after you'd be able to read, or the parent will say, the child will say, what did they just say? And the parent might not even know, but they read it, say, they've just said this. And they've said that children learn when they're actually hearing it as well and watching it. So, Dora the Explorer, people picked up Spanish from children from watching Dora the Explorer. So that would be the TV show, whether it's going to be just stuck on YouTube or on another Asian show.
Platform,
that's something that I'm thinking about and considering in terms of the long term.
Sure.
and how I'd reach the best audience. After that, it's merchandise. Literally the first month was, when are the pens coming out?
Absolutely.
Messages? Is there any t-shirts? I was like, oh wow, this is
Cuddly
quick.
toy?
That is actually in the process.
Good.
Yeah, so that will be the next couple of months. I'll be able to release that.
Yeah.
So I want it it will be fully fledged business.
Of course.
So yeah, it's actually taking up so much time now with just Punjabi. I've started Gujarati already, so that would be, I think they'll be available January. So it's just to find out about it just with the newsletters. But yeah, so that'll be the fully fledged business, TV show, merchandise and the books.
Okay. So you said you love the law.
Yes.
I cannot see that in 5 years' time you're still either going to be loving law or be able to be there. Because at the end of the day, the other thing, of course, is that, you know, you've got the entrepreneurial spirit that our community has. You know, Dad, you know, we used to look at them just as corner shops or shops. Yeah. But the fact is that these guys are entrepreneurs. Yeah. And that's in our blood, isn't it? If your family's had a business, right? Yeah. And I bet your dad thinks, oh, what do you want to go and work for somebody else for? Right? Yeah. So, okay, there's a lot of prestige attached to some of the positions that we have, you know, as a lawyer, solicitor, doctor, dentist, accountant, and we attach a lot of prestige to these things. But at the same time, you yourself know, and you said, you know, it's so poorly paid.
It is, yeah.
Right? So I don't think in 5 years' time you will still be a practicing
solicitor.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I have dropped a day, so I only work 4 days a week.
So it's starting, right?
It has started.
Okay.
I think I do agree. Within the 5 years, I do think I'll still be practicing law, but I think it'll perhaps be on a consultancy basis. So I'll just work on projects. So I might be engaged full time for 3 months, then have a couple of months break. So I'll hopefully get that balance. And with Happy Darty, I'm hoping then I'll have staff. I've got a graduate that's working on the PR side of things. And I specifically wanted a graduate just to give them that, you know, because it's quite difficult times.
Are you paying them?
So, yes, I am.
Good.
Yes. Yeah, and I said, record your time. I was like, because if you go over how many hours we've agreed, then I'll pay you. So I have said to her that, you know, record it. And I've actually got her some more work from other people. Fabulous. From the groups, because people are like, oh, how have you done this? I said, oh, I asked a graduate to do it. And I said, do this many hours and I'll pay you this much. And they're like, can I have a detail? So I've already got 3 or 4 more bits of work.
Maybe tell me, how does that, because as an entrepreneur, you know, I don't know how to involve a university in the work that we do. Yeah. And we would have work for, you know, people that are trying to graduate. So these are undergraduates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody that's at university right now and wants to, you know, add to their income, or, you know, whether it's they need it or not. How did you go about that?
Mine, fortunately, was through LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I've got quite a few people following me through LinkedIn, just from the books as well, and just because I've mentored a few people. But I did look at universities and how we can set up an internship, because they actually pay half, and you would then pay the other half. Okay. It's application form. They'll vet the company to ensure that, you know, it's appropriate workplace. And they do internships with them. So I know Open University do them, Birmingham City, Birmingham Universities. I look quite central to me.
And who would you, at the university, approach?
I think on the websites it's literally got just a separate link for the internships. It's a whole graduate programme that they have.
So it's a great way for companies, as you said. University will pay half.
Yeah, university will pay half.
Internships are usually short term. Yeah. Yeah. What are they typically? 3 months, 6 months? What are they?
But it has to be. I think it's minimum a week, because that's what was on there. But
so
3 to 6 months. Yeah. So it can literally just be a week or 2 weeks. It goes on to 3 to 6 months, but it has to be project based as well. It can't be that you're just hiring them to do a job as, you know, qualifying as I would. It has to be appropriate for the intern.
Okay, so you'll get a graduate that can help you actively in your business. Yeah. And the university will fund half of that. Yeah. So it's a great way for the business, A, to put something back, and B, to get somebody. I mean, that could be a future employee for them as well, couldn't it?
It could, yeah. It's that way of working to see, you know, are they a sponge? Basically, that's what you want. You want them to be a sponge to look at how you work and mimic that. Obviously, if you've got that work ethic, and put forward ideas of how it would work better, because although you might think you know everything, you know, there's always someone else that works better, works smarter, and that's what we want. I did say to us, like, I'm not expecting you to work loads of hours, because how we're doing it first is, and because she's a graduate, I said, you know, you work with me, you tell me what's best for you, but I'm just giving you tasks. So the first thing is contact everyone in media, put it on a spreadsheet first. I will work on the email with you so that you know the style and what I'm trying to achieve, and then just send out all the emails and phone calls. So it's easy for her, so she's got that process. And because unlike me, not everyone works whilst they're doing their degree. I found that a lot of people just do their degree and then they want a job, and they don't have that experience of working in the real world. So it's just adapting and trying to find how best they work.
Yeah, so you've given somebody an opportunity.
Yes.
And like you said, it was a female girl?
Yes,
So
yes.
she'll have a better chance of actually securing employment afterwards.
Absolutely.
Which is something that you did, right?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay,
And
so
that-
paying back?
Yes, it is paying back, yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It is.
That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
So we've talked about everything.
We have absolutely everything.
Right, except one thing.
What?
Yeah? So you're a single lady at the moment. Yeah, so where does, you know, and again, you know, somebody might be thinking, you know, how does she balance all of this?
Yeah.
Right? So you live within your family,
Yeah.
right? But marriage and things are on the horizon at some point?
Yes, I'm actually getting married next year.
Okay.
Yes.
That soon?
Yes.
Great. So everybody is invited to Ruby's wedding, right?
Yes, you're all invited.
How's that?
At this rate, it'll be on a Zoom call.
Well, we never know, do we?
No.
Never know. So, listen, I wanted to wish you absolutely the best for the future. Come back and tell us, you know, how you get on at some point. And the other thing is, of course, that, you know, we talked about meeting people, networking.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things that I think is lacking is A, confidence, and B, the attitude to go out there and get it, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're here today because I reached out to you on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, it was LinkedIn, yeah.
Okay, we didn't personally know each other.
No.
So, you know, you go about, you know, I saw some of your posts and I thought, this is wonderful. You know, this is a story that, you know, we would love to have on KTV.
Thank you.
Right, and the show, because what we try and do is bring people to the show that our audience hasn't necessarily heard about.
Yeah.
Within our community, doing great work.
Yeah.
Right? So what you could have done is, you know, being a solicitor is good enough, isn't it? For most people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, you think, great, I'm set for life now,
Yeah.
right? But you didn't stop.
No, I didn't, yeah. I feel like I've just got that constant drive where I have to do something.
Yeah.
Just being a solicitor isn't enough.
No.
Yeah.
And we touched on something else as well. We touched on, you know, having more than one income.
Yeah.
So I often talk about the fact that, you know, there's no such thing as jobs for life. You don't know what's around the corner.
No.
So in countries like America, you know, it's very common they call it side hustle, don't they?
Yes.
Right?
This is my side hustle.
It's your side hustle, isn't it? So what people do is they have their main job and then they do something in their spare time rather than sitting down, you know, doing unproductive things. They do something, they start a business or they have a part-time job, etc. And that gives you that, number one is it gives you that little bit of money.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is it gives you security.
Yeah.
And in your case, one day it will give you a fully fledged international business.
Wow, say it like that. Yes.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I did. I really like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes.
But it can't it?
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about,
Yeah.
right? So from having that idea as a small present for one of your friends,
Yeah.
you know, it's become it's a part-time business right now,
Yeah.
but it's got every possibility of that being a full-time job, business, and providing employment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I was brave enough, I could quit my job, but...
Could you do it now?
Well, I am actually on a short-term contract, which I'm comfortable with, because if it ends, I've got this to fall back on. And like I said, I've only in this job, like you said, no job safe, because I was actually, my contract was terminated because they needed to have cuts, save money. So there were so many of us that lost our job, and the market out there just isn't that great at the moment for real estate solicitors, and luckily 2 people retired at this practice, so they needed someone. So I came in. So yeah, if the contract does end and they don't extend it, I'm quite comfortable because I've got my side hustle.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Listen, time
Yes.
waits for no man.
Yes.
And we're at the end of another show.
Yes.
So is there anything finally that you'd like to say to our viewers? You can address them right now.
Yes.
And I think you wanted to talk about a little gift that you have for the audience.
I do actually, yes. Thank you everyone, to the viewers. Firstly, I'd like to do a giveaway. So there's 10 books if you'd like to DM me on social media. So that's Rubeena Mehat on LinkedIn, or Happy the Hottie on Facebook or Instagram. The first 10 people to message me, KTTV or Kam Johal, will get a free book. And for all viewers, for 1 week, there'll be 10% off. The code will be KTTV.
How's that? So a nice offer from Ruby if you want to teach Punjabi to your children or give it as a gift. So the first 10 books are free?
Yes.
And then there's a discount. So
10% for everyone else if you miss out, yeah.
Yeah, so get me, get Jazz, get Ruby, and get yourself a free book. So that's the end of another show. So time travels very, very fast when we're sitting here. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And until next time, take care and goodbye.